comment about how they have a hard time with their right hand and understanding how to make fills in between the chords with their right hand. So if this is you and you've really struggled with how to make rhythmic fills in your right hand, this is the perfect video for you. If you struggle with some left hand patterns, check out this video. This is a great one that shows the top 5 ways that I feel are the best for piano improvisation. There are lots of different left hand patterns, but these are just some of my favorites. Hi, my name's Rebecca and welcome to my music studio. I'm so glad that you're here. In my studio and on this channel, we spend a lot of time at making beautiful music at the piano, even if this is one of the first times that you've ever sat down at the piano. Piano improvisation is something that I'm passionate about and I love to do because it's great end of the day therapy, and it's just so wonderful to be able to sit down and make beautiful music for whatever mood that you happen to be in that day. So today we're going to use something that scares off a lot of people, but it should not scare you because it's going to be one of your greatest tools, and that is using scales. Now, if you've been around for any length of time on this channel, you see that I always start out with a scale, but usually I just use one finger because the scale fingering is something that we haven't really addressed yet. But this time I'm going to teach you the proper scale fingering for the key of C major. And the reason is this: when you learn the proper fingering for the C scale, you'll be able to add some fills to your right hand effortlessly. So come over to the piano. I would love to show you how this works and give you some exercises as you work through these different fill patterns in your right hand. Thank you so much for all of the support and love that you've given me since I started on YouTube just a few months ago. Make sure that you are commenting and subscribed and all of those good things. One thing that I would love to know is if this is something, using your right hand for fills, is this something that you struggle with? And if so, what have you done to try to practice it? This is something that I was never taught. And so when I realized that scales play into this right hand fill problem, it became not a problem anymore. Let me know in the comments below what you think and what you're struggling with.
So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the key of C major. And that happens between a C and a C. I love starting in C major because it's only white notes, so you don't have to worry about any of the black notes. Now, if we were to play the C scale, we would play every single note between C and then back down again like this. Now our ear can kind of understand what key that we're playing in. However, today we're taking it a step further and we're going to talk about our fingering patterns. First of all, I want you to look at the different notes between C and C. And when we get to a B, this is our important note because this is the only note that we're playing our forefinger. If we're making our fingers different numbers, thumb is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the forefinger only ever plays one note, and that note is the 7th of the scale. So that one is here. If you ever find your forefinger playing any of the rest of the notes, it's wrong. Okay, so what we need to know is that we only have 5 fingers, but we have to somehow get from here up to here. And we do that by going underneath our hand like this. Our thumb is going to come underneath. So what we do is we're going to do 1, 2, 3. And then on the 4th note, we don't play our 4 here because 4 only plays the B. We're going to take our thumb and go under and then reposition our fingers. Okay, so watch that again. 1, 2, 3, thumb under. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more time. 1, 2, 3, under. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then to come back down, we're going to do the same thing, only in reverse. So we start with number 5 with our pinky, and we go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this time, we're going to go over, and we're taking our 3 finger over to the E, and then reposition our hand. 3, 2, 1. So watch that one more time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Over 3, 2, 1. So I would practice that a few times with the correct scale fingering. Go up and then immediately come back down. And I would do that a few times until it becomes nice and fluid like this. Then we're going to extend it to 2 octaves. So this is called an octave between the C and the C. If we were to go up to one more C up here, that would be the 2nd octave. So if we're to do this, we just continue on with this pattern. So here's what a 2 octave scale would look like. 1, 2, 3 under. Now, when we get to 4, instead of hitting it with our pinky, we would run out, right? We'd run out of fingers. So instead, we're going to now put our thumb under again and reposition our fingers. And then we're ready to do it again. 2, 3 under. Okay, and then we're going to come back down. 3 over. Now remember that B, that's our 4. So we're coming over with our 4th finger this time, okay? 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. So I would try that a few times until that becomes easy to play. Now we're going to talk about our left hand and making triads in our left hand. So what a triad is just a stacked set of 3 notes. So in order to build this first triad, we're going to build a chord on every single one of the notes in C major. I'm only going to show you how the first one is made, but that is how all of the rest of them are made as well. So from our C, if we count up 3 notes, 1, 2, 3, we get to an E. So we have a C and an E. That's called our 3rd because we went 1, 2, 3. If we start on C and count up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we get to a G. That's our 5th. So if we put the 1, the 3, and the 5 down, that creates our first triad. So that is a C major chord. Then if we build a triad on the next note of the C scale, which is a D, we get a D minor chord, D, F, A. The 3rd note of the C major scale is an E. We build a triad, and that's E, G, B, and E minor. Our 4th note is built on an F, and that is an F major chord, F, A, C. Our 5th, this is called our dominant, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is a G. We have a G, B, D. Our dominant chord is a G major. Our 6th chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, is built on the A, and that is an A minor chord. And then our 7th note is a B. This is actually a B diminished. It's a B, D, and F. And then we end on our major 1. So those are all the different triads in the key of C major. For this demonstration, I'm going to give you a beautiful chord progression that you can use, and this will translate into any key on the piano. If you'd like to play in different keys, check out this playlist that as we go through all of the different keys in the circle of fifths. So our first chord, we like to always begin with a 1 chord. That's built on the first note of the scale, which is our C major. We're going to begin and end on a C major chord. That's kind of going to give our ear some place to land, and it will tell us when our song has begun and when our song ends. So we have a 1 chord. The next chord is a 2 chord that's built on the 2, and that was the D minor. So we're going from a C major to a D minor. Then we're going to go to our dominant chord, which is our number 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is a G, G major. Then we're going to our subdominant, which is called our 4 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is an F major chord, F, A, C. And then we're back to 1. So in order, with just our triad, our stacked triads, we have 1, 2, 5, 4, and 1. So I would try that several times just so that you understand the order of the chords. Now I'm going to give you a representative chord, which is a little bit easier to play than just the stacked triads. Instead of the stacked triads like this, we're going to represent this chord by doing an octave. An octave is just one note to the next note. So from a C to a C is an octave, okay? So you can either just play an octave like this, and that'll work out great, or you can do what I like to do, which is to put the fifth down. So if you remember, we did a third and then a fifth. That's the fifth that I'm talking about, that G. So we have a C, G, C. Now you can either play them all together like this, or you can play them in any order that you want, from the bottom to the top, or top to bottom, or you can do two notes at once, or the other two notes. So kind of play around with that and see which you like the best. All right, so then we do our 2 chord, which was our D minor, and our representative for that is a D octave with an A in the middle. And then we go to our dominant chord, which is a G. So I'll take this one down here, G octave with a D in the middle. And then we have our subdominant, or our 4 chord, F octave with a C in the middle. And then we're back to our 1. So here it is in order, and I'll just play them all together like this. We have 1, 2, 5, 4, back to 1. And the cool thing about improvisation is that it doesn't have to just be one time and then you're done. You can literally go through this pattern as many times as you want to until the song is the length that you want it to be. So you can go through 5 or 10 times, or you can just do it 1 or 2 times if you're just feeling like a short little practice session. So either way, it keeps looping, keeps looping, keeps looping until you reach that 1, and then it will come to its logical conclusion. So our first little exercise to get used to playing hands together with this scale pattern is we're going to do just an alternating hand thing. This is all that we're going to do. Now this is going to look a little different than my normal alternating hands because we're working on these independent fingers over here and we're working on doing our scale pattern. So I want your hand, first of all, to be in a 5-finger position. So this is middle C. I'm going to take a 5-finger position here where we have C, D, E, F, and G. Okay, we're not taking the whole scale. This is just the first 5 notes. And we're going to do our left hand where we play 1 beat over here. And I'll do all 3 of those together. So the octave and then the 5th. What we're going to do is play 1 beat with our chord, and then we're going to play all 5 notes over here because I want your fingers to practice moving individually. So it'll sound like this. And then we go to our next chord, which is our D minor. That's it, every single time. Then we're going to go to our G, F, and then back to our 1. Okay, so now after you get that 5-finger pattern, and that probably will not take you very long to be able to do that, we're now going to add our entire scale in there. So we're going to do 1 beat where we hold this down, and then we're going to do the whole scale, and you can go as slowly as you want to make sure you have the proper scale fingering. So it'll look like this. Switch your chord. And end on 1. After you have played it individually, where we're doing left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand, it's now time to simply put it hands together. So it can sound like this. Now we're going to put scales aside for just 1 second after you've practiced that and your hands are feeling nice and limber and ready to go. We're now going to play the triad chords in our right hand because playing with chords is going to help you to be able to fill out those same chords when you're playing hands together. This is what I mean. We're going to start with our 1 chord. So we have our C, E, G, right? And then we have our 2 chord, D, F, A. And then we go to our G chord, G, B, D, F chord, and now back to 1. But now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about inversions. Inversion simply means that instead of always playing a root position chord or this stacked pattern, that you can play it in any pattern that you want, meaning that it can be stacked like this, or you can take the C off the bottom. You could play that at the top. You could take this E off the bottom and play that at the top, or you could play the root position. So you have all of those choices every single time. All right, so let's look at the different inversions for the different chords. So that was C, and then we have our D minor. We have our root position, first inversion, second inversion, back to root position, and then we did G, root position, first inversion, second inversion, root position, and then F, first position, second inversion, root position, and then we're back to our C. So the reason it's important to practice all those is because now we're going to decide what order that we're going to do them in. And here's what I mean. So we can choose any order every single time. This is simply what I'm choosing in this moment, and you can choose what I'm choosing, or you can choose something else. So for right now, let's go ahead and start with a root position C chord. Our next chord is a 2 chord. It's D, F, and A. Okay, so I think that we're just going to stick with the root position for this one because we're just moving everything up. You don't have to do that, but we'll just do that for now. So we have root position, root position. Our next chord is a G chord. It's G, B, and D. So you'll notice that we have D already down, so we should already keep that one. We have a G right here, and we just need a B. So we're moving from a root position D chord to a second inversion G chord. It sounds a lot better than this where you're skipping. Watch. Doesn't it sound better the first way? So we have our D minor to our G, and then we have an F chord. So the notes for an F chord are F, A, and C. We've got F, we've got A. We just need a C, and this C is really close to this D, so we're going to take this one. And then we'll be back to C. Okay, so here are our chosen inversions for this minute. Now, the reason that this is important at all is because it's really helping you internalize these different inversions and the fact that you don't always have to do the same thing with your right hand all the time. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put our left hand and our right hand together. Now, again, even though we're talking about passing tones and using the scale for our additions, we're not doing that quite yet. This is the next step in the process. All right, so we're going to play our representative chords at the same time as our new choices. So it can sound something like this. And remember that all of my videos go from simple to more complicated. So if there is ever a step that you are really not getting and you need to spend some time practicing, please pause the video, rewind it, practice that section, and do not move on until you feel completely prepared to do so. That's very important because otherwise you will become overwhelmed, and that's the last thing that I want. We don't want to become so overwhelmed with playing the piano, which should be a relaxing and fun experience, so that we don't come back to it. We want to continue coming back and learning more each and every time you sit down at the piano. So our next step is simply adding notes in between. And because we have practiced this scale so many times, we know that all of these white notes are fair game. So anything that you play in between that is a white note is going to sound wonderful, because what you're doing is you're going to pick your chord or your inversion of your chord, and then anything else where your hand lays can be included in a passing tone. So it can be something like this. Okay, so anything where your hand is, your other fingers can make use of the notes around them because they are part of this scale. So we're going to just simply keep our hands within kind of a 5-finger pattern and see what happens with our progression. Let's give this a try. So you see how my other fingers, I played the chord, but then I was able to use the rest of the scale for those passing tones. Now, once you get the hang of that, it is now time to make use of this octave between middle C and C and this next octave. And you can have all this space to expand your time. Go slowly, and I want you to make use of your scales. So adding the scales as passing tones can sound something like this.
Okay, so that's it. What do you think? I hope that this was very informative and that you know exactly now how to practice these skills so that you can start adding some different fills and passing tones in your right hand. As soon as you get the hang of it, which will take a little bit of practice, but when you do, it's going to open up a whole new world of improvisation. Give it a try. Let me know how it goes. I would love to know in the comments below if you do try this, if you're struggling, or you'd like any part of this video for me to explain more, and I would love to consider doing that. Until then, I hope that you continue practicing, and I will see you in the next video.